when Barack Obama spoke to those black men in Pittsburgh and alluded to misogyny being the reason that they weren't voting for Kamala Harris. I was highly offended by it. And I remember this, I think his name is Officer Tatum. He has his own podcast and stuff like that. And,
he's a buddy.
You know, right? I remember how he was going off about that and was totally right.
Video is brought to you by The Officer Tatum Store, The Officer Tatum Store. You can also put in just Tatum Store to make it simple. But we got a BOGO going on, a mystery item BOGO. If you buy one mystery item, you get the other one half off. And mystery items are like, I don't know, $10 a shirt. So if you're looking for a discount, the money is funny, change a little strange, go to my website and get the mystery item selected now. Also, we also have inauguration shirts and hoodies and stuff that you can buy. Given the fact that Donald Trump is going to be elected in the next couple of days, he's going to be sworn in. We're all proud about it. This is a historical shirt that you can get that's going to last forever. I ain't say it's last forever. Let me not tell you that. The memories are going to last forever. This shirt ain't going to last forever, all right? But it's going to last long enough. All right, so get you one today. The carpets are, I say carpets, the doormats are still sold out. We're working at getting a lot of them done now. Put your name on the list. So if you click on it and you don't see it available, push notify me made available, get your name on the list. We're only going to have like 200 that we're going to be able to turn around. And therefore, you better be paying attention to the email because when they're gone until we restock them. We got a whole bunch of other new merch. This is one of my other favorite shirts, Trump Dance. I don't know if I'm going to wear this to the inauguration or not. And also, I told people about the quality of shirt. We increased the quality of the shirt, but the price is going to still stay the same for you. We got a really good deal with a company that we trust that's going to give us an opportunity to upgrade the quality of shirt. So I'm excited about that. So make sure you visit TatumStore.com, TatumStore.com. Some of you guys have been messaging me and saying, Stephen A. Smith gave you a shout out. Stephen A. Smith said he wanted to meet you. Stephen A. Smith said this. And I didn't know what you guys were talking about. So I watched a little bit of the Dave Rubin clip. And in fact, Stephen A. Smith did say or mention and bring me up for the second time. And I'll just say this. If anybody knows Stephen A. and you see this video, I'm going to message him on social media. I'd love to sit down and interview Stephen A. Or we could go have a bourbon together. We ain't even got to do no camera stuff. I do respect Stephen A. his transition, right? No, I'm not talking about his transition like like a transgender, but I'm talking about his transition into political awakening. Because at one point in time in my life, I was like Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith is much older than me, and he had a lot more money, and so there's a lot more pressure for him to wake up and change. But I do appreciate the fact that I feel like he's honest about his transition for the most part. And I think that he's open to listening to other opinions, which gives him the ability to transition. But those of you who wanted to see this clip, if you haven't seen it, I thought it was very honorable. I think Stephen A. Smith is a pretty big deal, in my opinion. And he's one of those people that is good to have on our side because smart people that have influence that's telling the truth is a win-win. Roll the clip.
I really thought, and I think I said it on my show like 2 weeks before the election, I was like, I think Stephen A. is going to vote for Trump. Was there just something else that was just a roadblock there?
Let's call it what it is. There's a lot of people that won't admit this. I'm going to admit it. I was a bit misinformed. Let's call it what it is. I'm going to tell you when my mind almost changed. I had already voted down here when Barack Obama spoke to those black men in Pittsburgh and alluded to misogyny being the reason that they weren't voting for Kamala Harris. I was highly offended by it. And I remember this, I think his name is Officer Tatum. He has his own podcast and stuff like that. And,
he's a buddy.
You know, right? I remember how he was going off about that and was totally right. I was like, the nerve. Because, wait a minute, you go on The View and they ask you, is there anything about Barack Obama, I'm sorry, not about President Biden, that you found wrong, anything that you would do different? You can't think of anything? With 12.5 million people crossing the border, really? You can't think of anything. You see homelessness in the street. You see crime. You can't think of anything. There was plenty of things you could have spoke on. Now, I know you didn't want to throw him under the bus, but when that happened, and then Barack Obama spoke to black men and said that, I was so insulted. Had I not voted already,
wow,
I might have voted for. That's how pissed off I was.
Did he just say I red pill him? Is that what he said? Did I have an influence in Stephen A. Smith's awakening to a certain degree? He did say he was mad, but he did end up seeing my commentary.
Whatever happened to disagreeing without being disagreeable, President Obama? What happened to that? All of a sudden, we want to challenge men and our love and our affection as black men for black women. We want to bring that into question because we've got an election coming up and people may have the temerity to think differently than you. it's because she's a woman that she's in danger of losing this election? Is that what we're saying? Is that what we're saying? It's a rhetorical question because it makes no sense to me. Is it possible that it's policy as opposed to misogyny? Is it possible that they've looked at a Democratic Party that has locked in on addressing or not addressing immigration and folks crossing the borders illegally, and have prioritized focusing on that along with other issues, identity politics and beyond, that has become such a focal point that has turned off folks in the African American community? Some, not most, not all, just some.
Why not you though, Stephen? How you keep exempting yourself from logic? You make a compelling argument about how all this stuff is wrong and how black people are moving away because the Democrats are doing this, and it's not you. I understand, bro. You got a large black audience and they pay you, you got this contract, and you're probably looking at the numbers, and large percentage of per capita people that watch you are black. Stop it already. There ain't no reason for you to vote for a Democrat, Stephen A. Not one reason. So I don't know. Y'all make be the judge. Do you think that I had anything to do with Stephen A. Smith's gradual transition to realizing that the Democrats are fraudulent fools and they've been defrauding the black community forever, and they just got exposed this time? I've been saying this. Candace been saying this. A bunch of us black conservatives that woke up have been saying this for a very long time. These people, when I went back and did research, because I'm the type of person that says, and I'm manic about this. I'm up all night thinking about this stuff. When somebody challenges me on something I never thought about before, I don't immediately respond. I go look it up. And it's exhilarating to me to look up stuff because I'm like, oh shoot, it's cool that I never knew this. And when I was being challenged by some of my friends on the police department, especially on the SWAT team, and they would challenge me about my position as a Democrat, and they would say stuff, and I was like, I didn't even watch that. If this guy's telling the truth, that's a big. If Barack Obama said what he said, that's a problem. And I'm not gonna overlook it because I don't know none of these people, right? I don't know none of these politicians. They don't pay my bills. I ain't got no kind of loyalty to none of them. And then I go and look it up and I go, he did say the Cambridge police officers were acting stupidly. Wait a minute, I saw that video and the cops didn't do nothing wrong. The guy was breaking in his house and the neighbor didn't recognize him, so the neighbor called the police and the cops were like, hey man, just show us your ID so we can make sure that you say that it's all good. I'm a professor, and the dude lied about the cops until the body camera came out, and he didn't even change. Michael Brown, they sent the DOJ and people to his funeral. I knew when I first saw it was a lie. Bro, you ain't gonna apologize for that? I put the uniform on every day, and now people coming at me. Oh man, y'all ain't nothing. Y'all kill Michael Brown and all these black people, and people hating us more because this fool is up there saying crazy stuff with no repercussions. I said, I can't support that, man. I remember when I first started talking about slavery, people were like, oh, the Republican Party was established to combat slavery. And I said, oh, that sounds crazy. Let me go look this up. How do you think the slaves were freed? Unanimous vote by Republicans. How do you think black people got citizenship? How do you think women had the right to vote? Unanimously voted by Republicans. Not every Democrat voted for it. The Civil Rights Act, unanimously Republican. Democrats filibustered for the longest filibuster in United States history. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, go. The parties never switched. The Democrats were the party of slavery. What? Wait a minute. The NRA helped the black people get firearms. So the NRA ain't a bunch of racist white people that been just hate black people their whole life. No, they were trying to arm black people so they could defend themselves against the KKK. Oh, wait a minute. The civil rights movement, let me see. No, the NAACP was established by a white person with W.E.B. Du Bois and them connected to it, but it wasn't just black people. White people helped the NAACP come about. Wait a minute. The first legal slave owner in American history was a black man. Wait a minute. Anthony Johnson. What? Somebody said Anthony Johnson. I looked it up. Anthony Johnson. The first legal slave owner in American history. 1600s, Anthony Johnson. Black man. Whoa, wait a minute. Harriet Tubman was married. Wait a minute. She was married. Harriet Tubman was married. Her husband was a free black man, and they lived together when she started the Underground Railroad. He actually told her not to do it. What? Do the research. When black people were boycotting in Rosa Parks, that was a staged event. There was a black woman that was on the bus kicked off, but she had a kid out of wedlock at 16. So she wouldn't have been a good enough example for them to push the issue. So they staged it with Rosa Parks. What? Then I found out that black people had their own bus line when Rosa Parks was riding the bus, the white man bus. Black people had their own bus line. So we decided that to stage the whole thing. We didn't want our bus line. We wanted to integrate with the white man bus line. Instead of building ours, we wanted to get on theirs. That's where all this came from. What? And I took Africana studies in college. Lynching. Now, there was more black people lynched than white people. There was 1,200 white people in the history of lynching. There was over 1,200 or 1,400 white people that were lynched. What? I thought it was black people only getting lynched. 1,200 some white people getting lynched in comparison to, I think, 3,200 black people, somewhere around there. But 1,200 white people got lynched. So that means white people were getting lynched too. By who? Other white people? Oh, well, I thought they all got along. I thought they were always against the black man. Then when I went to college and I took Africana studies, I realized, and they taught us more thoroughly, that slavery wasn't about race. Oh, wait a minute. They didn't just want to enslave the black man from the continent of Africa. No. They tried to enslave the white man first. They couldn't endure the climate and environment. They weren't built for it. They tried to enslave the natives, but they had a native tongue. They knew how to talk to each other, and the white people didn't know what they were saying. So, and they knew the terrain. They knew the way around. So in the nighttime, they escape. They'll plot it, and they'll escape because they knew where they were going, and nobody could find them. So that wasn't going to work. So they had to go get the cheapest labor available, which were already enslaved black people in Africa who were trading their own people. So they went to Africa to get the slaves, brought them back here, and they became slaves. And that was one of the biggest blessings in disguise for black people today, because we didn't have to go through the drama, but we reaped the benefits off the backs of them people who died for us. But we steady complaining. I'm the white man. What's that clip from yesterday? We got it still in the system. That actor that was in Amistad, that African actor. Do we have that clip? Now, speaking of that, still complaining. Let me just give you an example, because I got 1,000. If my mind could, if AI could make my mind pop up every example that come to my mind, and I could just have it right here in front of me, I have 1,000 of them. But we were going to talk about this subject yesterday. The actor in the Amistad is complaining about discrimination and despair. Like, it's crazy to me. When you find out the truth, like Stephen A. just did, like I did, like others, you realize, wait a minute. When I start peeling this onion back, what else is beneath the surface of this thing, man? How deep does this go? How deep does the lies go? How deep does the brainwashing go? And I remember him only from Amistad. He played a great part. That was the greatest acting I ever seen. I mean, he got awards after awards for Amistad. Wrote a clip.
How has Hollywood changed in terms of African representation in what you see since you started out to what's being produced now?
Yes, quite a bit has changed. I must say, because of course, when I came out with Amistad, I was nominated for a Golden Globe, but they ignored me for the Oscars, talking about the fact that they thought that I had just came off the boat and off the streets, where Steven Spielberg, used me for this film, and even though I successfully did that, they just didn't feel like I was an actor for whom we should pay any respect to. So this conceptual idea of diversity and all that, it still has a long way to go. Systemic racism don't change like that anytime soon. I mean, I'm still struggling trying to make a living.
After 30 years in this business.
After, well, let's speak.
He worth $4 million last time I checked. 4.2. He worth 4.2. He worth 4 and a deuce million. And he's still struggling as an actor. Denzel Washington ain't struggling. Why? How come you say discrimination is still, and one of the greatest actors to ever live and probably got so many awards is Denzel Washington? He not struggling. Some of these other, like it's a lot of black people that are successful. Here's the thing. I'm telling you guys, it's an energy thing. I'm gonna write a book about this. It's an energy thing. Give me the big screen. When you're walking around, you said what? Yeah, I don't even want to hear him no more. He's still complaining. When you're walking around and in your mind, your subconscious says, or the voice in your head is telling you, I'm not good enough. When you're telling yourself you're not good enough, people can see that on you. The way your aura, and you guys have all seen this if you paid attention. When somebody come in the room, you're like, that person must be important. And that's not only because they got a title, it's because the way they think is the way they carry themselves. If you think you're not good enough, you're gonna carry yourself not good enough, and people are gonna feel that. They're gonna feel the energy that you're putting off. Just like creepy people. Have you ever been around somebody and you're like, damn, that person creepy as a mother. There's something about this man right here, but he like I can't be alone with him in the same room. That's because they creepy. And the aura that they're giving off, because in their mind, all of these negative and dark things are going on, and they probably thinking about taking advantage of you. And that connectivity that God has given us, the intuition and stuff that's naturally given to us, some have better than others, is kicking in. So it's very impactful to your future how you think about yourself. That's why I listen to affirmations almost every night. And I've been slacking some, here and there, but I try to listen to affirmations every night. I want to brainwash my subconscious mind to see myself differently. So when my waking hours can be influenced by my subconscious mind to think positive things about myself. Because when you think well about yourself, you begin to act a certain way. Then you begin to attract people that's just like-minded, just like you. Some of y'all have lived life long enough to know when you're doing dirt, you always find dirty people to do dirt with you. You on drugs. Some of y'all be addicts that have recovered. When you on drugs, you can find a drug dealer anywhere. You can spot him a mile away. Like, oh man, I wouldn't even think about. I got drugs right here. And you can find a friend that then you can smoke crack with him, and it's all coming together. It's because these are the things that you're attracted to yourself by the way you think about yourself and the way you act. If you're a happy person, and this is biblical, and I'm gonna write a book about it, I told you, this is biblical. The reaping and the sowing is biblical. If you feel a certain way and you act a certain way, it's gonna lead you to a certain path. That's why I let that victim mentality go a very long time ago. And I don't believe anything can hold me back. The only thing that can hold me back is if God doesn't have that as a plan in my life. If God has it as a plan for my life, ain't nothing can hold me back. Nobody, nowhere, no time, no nothing. God is going to open that door, and that door will be open and no man can shut. That's what I believe. So the color of my skin, and if I experience adversities because of the color of my skin, God is trying to teach me something to get me somewhere greater than where I'm at today. So maybe you do get discriminated against in certain cases. Yeah, that's to make you stronger. That's not for you to cry like a punk. It's for you to get stronger and say, you know what? I know how to handle adversity. I know how to communicate in an environment where I feel like people are against me. I know how to find success, like what they say, the flower through the concrete, the rose through the concrete rose, or whatever people use that analogy. But it's only to make you better. When you have drama in your family, don't look at it as, dang, why am I going through this? You got to look at it as, okay, how do I get better in this so I can learn? Because God is trying to take me somewhere else. I'm going to give y'all an example real quick, and then we're going to move on. I struggled for the longest with my son not living with me, but I kept the faith, and I kept believing. I would tell my son every day, because he would say, Daddy, I want to live with you. Daddy, I want to live with you. And I say, look, son, God is going to do what God going to do. So God got his own plan. And all you need to do is be good. Focus on being successful, do the best you can, listen to your mama, do whatever you're going to do, because God may have a plan for you to be where you at right now. And of course, I have to give my son encouragement, because it hurt me on the inside. And I kept strong. 14 years and tens of thousands of dollars later, court appearances, all kind of other crazy stuff. And I'm going to tell you this, and it's a testimony. And that's why I'm not mad at nobody over this. It's a testimony. I do struggle sometimes. Don't get me wrong. I get mad every now and then when I think about it. No court whatsoever, although I went to court, granted me my son living with me. Not a single court appearance, not a single attorney, not a single force that I had to do, nothing like that. One day he can live with you. Now, of course, I still gotta do stuff to make that happen, and God gonna bless me because I'm doing the right thing. But now all of a sudden my son lives with me. And y'all knew, and I said this probably to some of y'all who've been following me for a long time, because you knew my son lived with his mom. And I said, one day I'm going to have my son, he's going to live with me. But in the meantime, what am I doing to prepare myself to get to a point where it's a smooth thing when he lives with me? I'm prepared as a father. For all you fathers out there, I got an environment that he can flourish in. Because maybe, just maybe, if my son had lived with me when he said he wanted to live with me, when I thought he should have lived with me, maybe I wouldn't be where I'm at. I would be where I'm at today. Maybe if I had my son with me, I wouldn't have went on a date with Corinne, and I wouldn't have got married. Or maybe I would have been prioritizing other things, and I wouldn't have got where I'm at. But God knew that he needed me to get right here with this level of maturity, with this woman. My wife is the greatest woman I know. With this woman, because the environment in which your son is now living in is better than what he would have lived in if you would have got it your way. I'm preaching to somebody. Y'all don't have to watch it. Y'all don't have to listen. Somebody getting blessed. I wish somebody would spoke life to me like this while I was watching a political live stream. It's true. It's all about what you think about yourself is how you succeed or fail, because it becomes residual compounding.